Hi, my name is João, and Sam actually helped me on my application strategy. And fortunately, I got into INSEAD, where I started 2 months ago, in the January intake.
Joao, thank you very much for joining us. Really exciting to hear your application story. You obviously got into INSEAD, as you mentioned. So can you start, please, by just telling the viewers about your background? Tell us about your professional background pre-MBA.
Sure. So I've worked mainly in Europe in consulting, but before that, I have an academic background in economics and also in business. And I actually did my undergraduate and master's in different countries, so I already had some kind of international experience, which I also think it was useful for getting into, for example, INSEAD, which is a very international school.
Yeah, sure. Okay, awesome. And can you talk about where you've worked over just give us a bit of an idea about your professional background, maybe companies, industries, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So after after my master's, I started working in the private equity sector. I did 6 months it was more of a small 6 month analyst program, and then I changed to strategic consulting. So one of the MBB, which was very interesting to also understand the different ways of getting into the job industry. So the private equity fund was much more niche. It was around 10-15 people, and you really got a sense of how to work under a small team in innovative industries. While when I went to MBB, it was a much more structured process that I actually had a very steep, let's say, learning curve. So it was very interesting to also develop myself.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. And so can you give, without going into too much detail, can you talk about roughly what your idea for your reasons for doing an MBA are, what you're perhaps what you're hoping to get out of an INSEAD MBA?
Yeah, obviously, I think a big pro is the experience, getting to know new people, making new connections. But I think going deeper than that, it's also about personal development, and especially when you're in a big company such as MBB, it's all about improving your personal skills and your areas that either in terms of leadership, in terms of networking, in terms of working in a diverse group. It makes a lot of sense to, when you come out from being an analyst or an associate or whatever, to make that next step to become a manager and going through the ranks of these strategy firms. And so I'd say the main goal was precisely to improve a bit my leadership skills, my people skills, to get to that next level. And obviously, I think it's also a great opportunity to refresh your knowledge a bit in some key areas that, for example, you'd like to specialize. Either it's fintech, either it's industry, either it's negotiation. There's lots of useful skills that you can take this opportunity as well to go for the next level.
Right. So you're a consultant in MBB and doing your MBA as part of that traditional consulting route to progress through into the senior ranks of consulting. A lot of people following that path for MBAs in general. INSEAD particularly well known and well respected for its exposure to consulting, and it's what it provides in terms of opportunities for people to move into consulting. Okay, fantastic. So can you talk a little bit about how we work together? How your application process sort of in general, but specifically how we work together when you were putting together your INSEAD application?
Yeah, sure. I'll say the first thing that surprised me when working with you, it was your responsiveness, and that was a very good thing at the stage that I was when starting doing the applications, because I think we had like 1-2 weeks till the deadline, and we managed to I managed to work with you to improve the application, still get through that last phase, which is pretty important to get all the things ready for the application. And more than that, even during that short time, we were even able to take sometimes a step back to get an overall feel of the application, even if my motivations really match the school's purpose in terms of what they want their students to, the impact they want their students to do in the future. And so it was not so much, let's say, work on polishing some aspects of the strategy, but also some really going into the thought process and the deep motivations of wanting to do something like an MBA, and then that translates very easily and much more easily and much better into the final results, I'd say.
Cool. So tell me, there's a lot of people watching this who are thinking, oh, I'd love to go to INSEAD. I wonder if I'm cut out for it. What do you think are some of the things about your profile that fit really well with INSEAD? What are some of the things you think the school liked about you that you think contributed to you getting into this prestigious MBA program?
Sure. At INSEAD, I think it's very well known for its diversity, especially given it has a campus in France, in Singapore, also in Abu Dhabi. It also has a campus in San Francisco, so they value a lot people that come from different experiences and that have the opportunity to go to another countries to work and really make a change in going forward in terms of international business. So I think they value a lot international background. So if you already have the experience to study somewhere or to work in another country besides your country of origin, I think that's always a plus. And maybe it's what distinguishes really INSEAD from the rest of the schools. Then, in terms of profiles, I think it's always important if you have a diverse profile, if you work in some niche industry, that you actually made a change, that you started doing something that goes beyond the usual.
Can you talk about some of the most stressful parts of the application process? Because lots of the application process, INSEAD, just like other schools, you're reliant on recommenders. You've got in-person interviews. INSEAD also has its Kira Talent video interview process. So in your experience as a successful applicant, what do you think what were some of the most stressful parts of the process for you?
Yeah, I think definitely it's important to plan ahead because when you go into the last month, you really start juggling all the GMAT part, the applications part as well, because all the deadlines come up at the same time, more or less. So it's really important to have, outside someone, and I think you had a big part on it, Sam, on how to plan going forward, kind of like in an holistic way, all your application process, because then you can actually think about your stories in a much more broader way, and then apply them to the different questions across the different MBA programs that you are applying to.
Okay.
When it comes, yeah.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I was just saying, when it comes down, I would say that it's very important to really make some time to focus on the important parts of the application and not just leave it to the last minute.
Okay, understood. Can you talk to us about your experience at INSEAD so far? So you're now a month and a half or so, a couple of months into your MBA, and a lot of people watching will be thinking, "Oh, I wonder what it's like." You know, it's got this incredible reputation. What's the program like? Can you give us a little bit of a feel for some of the work you've been involved in, some of the classes you've taken so far, and what your classmates are like, and what the international move is, because you had to move for your MBA as well. So can you talk to us about your experience so far at INSEAD?
So I'm staying at the Singapore campus in INSEAD, and it's been great fun. And actually, when I came from my firm to do the MBA, and my plan is to come back, I thought that I would spend 1 year of fun and then I would come back and that would be it. But actually, when I got here, it was surprisingly the amount of connections that I'm making, new people that I'm encountering, new opportunities, people from very different industries, and it is really, I would say, an opportunity to stop and think when you actually have the time to do that, and it gives you a new perspective on things, and you actually really enjoy being with your colleagues. You make connections for your professional life in the future, and it's been really a life-changing experience for me.
Thanks for that, Joao. Do you have any advice then for applicants who are following in your footsteps and hoping to get onto such an incredible MBA program as INSEAD, and they're looking at this process and they're thinking, oh my God, it's so scary. There's so many different parts to this process. And they're pretty daunted. Do you have any advice for these people?
Sure. First, Sam, I'd say very important part is to plan ahead. So really take time to understand when you're going to apply and to make sure you cover all your bases like the GMAT, the application process, the preparation for your interviews, and make sure you got all your bases covered and you have the time to strategize your applications accordingly. The second thing, which I really understand while working with you, it was to think deeper. Think deeper into your motivations. Think deeper in what you really want to take from the MBA, because sometimes we're really set on a course because it's a bit our path that we understand, but there's something deeper there that you want to explore to for your own good, but also to bring that up to your applications to make your story much better as a whole, and it makes more sense. And thirdly, I would say just relax. When it's time to go for the decisive moments, such as interviews, such as the GMAT, just yourself. Don't stress things out. It's much better to relax and to go for it, because I'm sure if you did the work and if you planned ahead and if you thought deeply, as we discussed, things are going to go much better if you're relaxed and confident about your story.
Brilliant. That's wonderful. Joao, thank you so much for your time. Really wishing you all the best for the rest of your time at INSEAD, and stay in touch. And one more thing before we go, which is turning into a tradition. Can I get a high five?
High five, Sam.
High five. Thank you very much. Joao, it's an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure. Take care.
Thank you. Take care, Sam. Bye bye.